Hello and welcome back to another video, and in my quest to learn more knowledge about not just Guild Wars 2 but Guild Wars in general, this video came in my recommended feed, and this video is called, let me scroll down, What I Love About Guild Wars 1, and it's by a YouTuber called MasterofNone. So this video was released about, yeah, just under a year ago, over a year ago. What month are we in? God, just over a year ago. And I figured, you know what, it would be cool to look at what Guild Wars 1 was about and have a little delve into what that is. I've already said that in the future, at some point, we're going to look at Guild Wars 1 and actually play it. Obviously, we're doing Guild Wars 2 at the moment, but I am very interested to see what all the hype was about, because Guild Wars 1, or Guild Wars, I should just call it, completely fell under my radar, and I didn't know it was a thing, to be honest, at all. I only knew of Guild Wars when Guild Wars 2 was announced in 2011 or 10, whenever it was, I can't remember. Yes, so obviously this video is by the Master of None. I've obviously, I've covering his name, I've liked the video and subscribed, and you should as well. I've left the link to this video and his channel in the description below. Me and the Master of None, we're very similar kind of sized YouTubers, so please do go show them some support, give them a lot of love, and make sure you subscribe and support them. Anyway, and also obviously subscribe to me, that would be nice, and like this video. We do, as you can see, we look at MMOs, we look at RPGs, we look at lots of stuff. We're looking at Guild Wars, but we're going to look at tons of stuff in the future, so please make sure you hit that subscribe button. I don't know when this video will be going out, but I'll be having... I do stream as well. I should just mention I stream on Twitch as well. Streaming Guild Wars 2 at the moment, and I'll be getting a video of me absolutely failing at the Halloween event coming up. That might be up already, but if not, it's going to be coming up very soon. Okay, so let's open this up and let's have a look at what I love about Guild Wars 1 by MasterofNone in 3, 2, 1, go.
Guild Wars. One of my most cherished childhood memories, together with RuneScape and Borderlands.
I mean, Borderlands, I played on my Xbox 360, and I thought it was pretty good. But RuneScape is next level. RuneScape is the first MMO I ever played. I can't even remember how old I was. I must have been maybe 8, 9, 10, something like that. So I was playing... Like, this is how old I am, right? So, old school RuneScape is basically 2007 RuneScape. I played RuneScape fully and then stopped RuneScape before the Grand Exchange was a thing. So, God. I'm old. So, I played before you could put stuff on the Grand Exchange and you had to stand outside the bank in Camelot and shout at people to get to trade. Like, I love RuneScape so much. I haven't played in a long time, but it's definitely a game that I do want to revisit at some point, because it's such a wonderful, wonderful game. I love RuneScape. I know we're not talking about RuneScape right now, so we're going to move on, but I love RuneScape, and look, if anyone wants me to look at RuneScape stuff, give me an excuse, because I'll do it. Anyway.
And a couple other games.
What else we got? Star Wars Battlefront 2 is incredible. I never played Theme Hospital. Rayman's obviously incredible. Never played Ratchet and Clank. Was that weird? I just didn't. Battle for Middle-earth is also amazing. What's that?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Master of None here. Today, I want to talk to you about Guild Wars, the original.
Yeah.
Since I recently started making videos on GW1, I also needed occasional footage from the first game. Running through the old world, I couldn't resist the urge to make a dedicated video about this gem of a game. What made it so good? Why did I pick up this game at 11 years old? And more importantly, what can other MMOs learn from it even to this day?
That is interesting. This is going to be really good.
To answer those questions, let me briefly explain what Guild Wars 1 is. Guild Wars is an online role-playing game from ArenaNet that was released in April 2005.
Okay.
I'm avoiding the term MMO here deliberately because even though you could see hundreds of players in cities,
Interesting.
as soon as you went out adventuring, it was just you and your party. It was
Okay.
an instance game with all the cities being hubs where player could meet and team up to go on an adventure together. Back in high school, Guild Wars was the type of game that you got when there was no way your parents would pay for a World of Warcraft subscription.
I see.
After having
So I'm guessing there was no subscription then for the original Guild Wars. Yeah, I've had comments when I've mentioned Guild Wars 1 saying it's not much of an MMO, it's more of a MMO. No, it's not much of an MMO, it's more of an RPG, like an action RPG, kind of like Dragon Age or, you know, Old Republic or something like that. The problem, well, the thing is, Dragon Age Origins is probably in my top 5 games I've ever played. I love that game, so it kind of sounds like it might be up my street.
Experience the wonders of online gaming.
Look at that wonderful game. Look at
I
that.
was ready to jump into a new world.
Nostalgia.
I found Guild Wars like I found all games back then, going through a big pile of CD cases at the toy store. And there
I used to, near where I live, there used to be a Blockbuster. Do you remember those? Remember Blockbusters? Literally 2 minutes down the road from where I live, and I used to go every weekend just with, I don't know, I think it was like a few quid, a few British pounds sterling, not weight, pounds. And you could rent a game for a week, and I'll just do that all the time. I kind of miss it, to be honest. Alright, so now. Nightfall. So an expansion.
I'm getting shivers down my spine just looking at the box art. I have so many good memories with this game. So anyway, I come home from the store and try to install it on my grandparents' computer. They didn't even have a mouse back then, just some weird joystick looking thing where, even set to the highest speed, getting your mouse cursor from one end to the screen to the other would take about 20 seconds. Still, installation went kind of smoothly, disregarding the fact that it took about 5 hours to download. I hit the character screen and got presented with my first...
It took me, when I first installed WoW, it took me about, oh god, it took me days, I think, to get that installed on my old computer. And I remember having to turn the graphics all the way down, because if I had it even slightly up onto like fair or whatever, it would crash after every 30 minutes. It would just crash. I mean, I remember like he talks about playing with a joystick. I remember that because MMOs of that scale, when the first proper MMO I played was WoW. Like, you know, with using the keyboard and mouse, like RuneScape is a bit different. I had no idea how to play these games, because really just before that I was playing Xbox, so I had my left hand across using the directional keys, not WASD, because I didn't know what that was, to move. I then would use the mouse to change the camera, and then I would click my abilities. And to be honest, I'm surprised I don't have some sort of repetitive stress disorder in my left hand from playing that game in such a scuffed way. But you know, when you first play these games, you just don't know, do you? And back then in like 2000, I don't know, 8 or whatever it was, there wasn't like videos or anything to show you what to do.
First choice: making a role-playing or a PvP character.
Ooh.
Honestly, I don't think 11-year-old me knew the difference, so I made a PvP character because role-playing didn't sound as cool.
True.
I end up in this place called the Zaijian Challenge.
Let's go back, hold on.
For the longest time, I end up in this place called playing didn't sound...
Yeah, so I just looked at that video about the char, and I was wondering if I said in the video, can you only play as humans in Guild Wars 1? And it looks like that's the case. I wonder, are these gender locked? Maybe they are. I don't know. So it looks like you got your warrior, your classic ranger, yeah, the monk, that's fine. Necromancer, nice. Mesmer, yeah. Your mage, I guess that's kind of your paladin type stuff. I'm not sure what the dervish is. It's interesting.
On this school, I end up in this place called the Zaijian Challenge. For the longest time, I thought this was the game. You could queue up and fight these bots in some PvP practice matches. I didn't really dare to fight against real people, so I never left that place. It was pretty fun since I got to unlock new skills and learned about a tactic from a friendly player where you would just equip a bunch of traps and nuke all NPCs instantly. After about 2 weeks or so, I had enough of the arena fighting though and stopped playing. I don't
Nice.
remember how long it exactly took, but all of a sudden, school friends started talking about Guild Wars. This is when I picked it
so
back up
interesting
again,
because it completely
intrigued and confused by
flew
them
under
talking
the radar
about
where
a
I
huge
was.
world, while the only thing that I ever saw was some arena mode. And this time I created a PvE character, a dervish, and the real journey began.
Okay.
Guild Wars is so unique in its gameplay and mechanics that there really isn't anything like it to this day. It's also the reason why some hardcore GW1 players heavily dislike the second game. While the core philosophies have stayed mostly the same, everything else has been changed. Guild Wars was heavily inspired by Magic the Gathering. Instead of collecting cards, you would essentially collect skills. With over 2,000 skills in the game, there were near endless possibilities for weird and wacky builds for you to discover. There were 10 different professions to choose from, and pretty soon after character creation, you would get to choose a second profession. So your necromancer could then also be a monk and equip monk skills, for example. Thanks to your
This sounds amazing, I've got to be honest. I mean, it's probably, like, I'm not surprised this isn't a thing anymore, because it seems extremely complicated. Like, how would you balance
passives, you were getting energy whenever an enemy died. Energy is basically the Guild Wars equivalent of mana, allowing you to be a great healer with very expensive healing skills. I absolutely adore this system, but I am not surprised at all that ArenaNet decided to not take this over to the second game. It was incredibly hard to balance.
Oh, of course,
Speaking of balance, Guild Wars was primarily built with PvP in mind. Even though most of my time was spent in PvE. There were 7 different PvP game modes to choose from, all feeling very distinct. Probably the most accessible one was Random Arenas. This was a 4v4 with solo queue only. The catch was, when your random team won the match, you wouldn't instantly get disbanded, and instead you would play against a different team.
I have to say, for a game that came out in 2005, it still kind of looks quite good. Like, it doesn't look that bad at all.
Trying to keep your win streak up for as long as possible, and getting more and more points in the process. I love this mode, since it always felt really casual to get into, but could get very serious once you got matched with a strong team and got the streak going. Another standout to me was the much less popular Codex Arena. This was another 4v4 mode, but you would only have a very limited and random selection of skills to choose from. This meant that every time a new skill selection came out, you tried to figure out which classes would be able to make the strongest build with that limited pool. The buildcraft was so fun, although I'm sure that I was terrible at it. I'll only mention one more game mode to showcase the variety, otherwise this video will become way too long. Alliance Battles, my absolute favorite. This mode was released with the Guild Wars faction campaign
frame rate.
and determines where the faction borders are in Kantha.
Oh, this is
you
interesting.
queue up as a team of 4 and then get put together with 2 other teams, making it a 12v12. The mechanics were similar to how Conquest works in Guild Wars 2. You get points for kills and holding nodes. Instead of capture points though, you would have shrines which were defended by NPCs. This allowed for a great variety of builds. One of your team members might be especially good at capping shrines and dealing with the NPCs, while others may focus more on killing players or healing. This blend of PvP with PvE was so much fun for me, and I loved trying out all the different builds. Having 7 PvP game modes also came with a drawback though. It spread the player base quite thin, and it's the main reason ArenaNet decided to launch GW2 with just 1 game mode. I personally think this is a shame and never really experienced it that much as a problem, due to how the bonus events work that would be active every week. A specific game mode would give you double the rewards and thus attract a lot more players for that time. This made Guild Wars 1 PvP incredibly fun and varied. On top of that, you also had a daily PvP mission which would further increase the population. It's the typical 180 ArenaNet likes to do, which I always disliked. I'm glad that we now have at least off-season 2v2s in Guild Wars 2 to change it up a bit, but it's still quite sad how they completely abandoned Stronghold without trying to iterate or improve it. Anyways, back to Guild Wars 1. Let's quickly talk about the business model. Similar to its successor, it did not have a subscription fee.
I mean, that's got to be huge if you're a kid, right? Like, if you're young, you're in school, like, getting not having a job, not being able to have a job, not being old enough to have a job, and like especially back when I was younger, it's not like I don't think I had a debit card, so it's not like I could subscribe to stuff myself if I had some sort of job. Do you know what I mean? So it's having no subscription is huge when you're younger, and I think like I did have one when I played RuneScape, but RuneScape, the subscription for membership in RuneScape back in the day was like £3, £3 a month. So it's like it was nothing for like my parents who kindly subscribed for me.
Unlike GW2 though, the in-game cash shop was extremely bare bones with very little amount of things to buy. Instead, ArenaNet would release a new expansion every 6 to 12 months.
Wow, that's huge.
It just blows my mind how they were able to produce so much content in such a short time, with so much longevity, considering that people are still playing the same thing 16 years later. It's truly remarkable. Guild Wars 1 really nailed the reward structure as well. There were rare skins to farm, mini pets to collect, titles to go for, speedruns to learn, and on and on.
Speedruns, that's interesting. What made it
especially satisfying was the great mix of long and short-term goals you could pursue. As an example, a medium-term goal might have been to max out a title by completing every story mission in hard mode. When you finally got there and were proudly displaying it, you noticed another title appear, for which you had to max out as many titles as possible.
I see.
I love this about Guild Wars. It managed to hook you so elegantly
Dangle
without
the carrot
having a gear
bit further.
My favorite thing about Guild Wars 1 was the genius decision for most of the PvE enemies to use the same skills and abilities that the player could use. This had many benefits. First of all, it helped you get familiar with a ton of skills, even if you never
I don't know many games that do that. That's cool.
Use them yourself. It taught you important concepts like that you should probably focus the healer down first.
I mean, that would be good for PvP, wouldn't it? Because you'd learn what the abilities are.
Which skill was dangerous and needed to be interrupted.
Yeah.
It had the amazing benefit of making it way easier to get into PvP. The early parts of the game were almost like a tutorial to prepare you for PvP.
I know what I'm talking about.
It got more difficult as you progressed through the story though, up to a point where PvE really offered a different kind of challenge and required a very different type of buildcraft. An amusing side effect to this system was that if a skill got completely changed or reworked, it could make a PvE area way harder all of a sudden, because the enemies were using the same skills as the player. I can't recall if this ever had a ginormous impact on an area, but I wanted to mention it either way. To sum it all up, the original Guild Wars had so many unique elements that you won't find in any other game up to this date. It is a completely different beast compared to Guild Wars 2, and they have very little in common. I wish other MMOs could learn something in terms of creativity when it comes to PvP game modes. The satisfying rewards, the extremely fair business model, and how enemies...
That would be nice, wouldn't it? That would be nice, an extremely fair business model. Man. There are certain games that I just haven't touched because of the business model. I mean, like, if Black Desert Online had a similar business model to Guild Wars, I'd play the shit out of that game. I've played it a bit. The combat is so fun, obviously, of course it is, but I just know there's going to be a certain point where they're going to want me to put money in it, and I don't want to. Or at least I don't want to put a lot in. I'll put a bit in, like what Path of Exile does, we have to put a little bit in. I'm fine with that, but I don't know. Same with like Lost Ark, or games like that. It's just, if they had a fair business model, I'd play the shit out of these games, but I just won't do it.
In the open world used player skills. Thankfully, the servers are still up and running, and if ArenaNet is to be believed, they will still be up for a long time after this video has been released.
That's good news.
It apparently doesn't cost a lot of money to keep it going.
Okay,
good. So if you're someone that can enjoy older games, I can wholeheartedly recommend it. Just make sure to change your district to America at the top left of your screen, because that is where all the players congregate nowadays.
I see, that's good to know.
There is so much more to say about Guild Wars 1.
Oh yeah, there's loads of people.
On how the PvE mission system worked, or how there was an activity called Vanquishing, where your goal was to kill every last enemy on a map for rewards and titles. But I chose to focus on the things that were most important to me. So, to finish up this video, I have a question to all the Guild Wars 1 players out there. What is your favorite thing about Guild Wars?
Interesting.
Let me know in the comments below.
Might have to have a little
Thank
look
you
at
for
the
watching,
comments.
and I hope to see you in the next one.
Lovely. Yeah, so great video. Really good video. Deserves a lot more love than it has. So please do go like and subscribe to Master of None. Let's have a look. My favourite Guild Wars 1 moment was finding a random Elementalist chick in Shiver Peaks trying to get a bonus objective done. I was trying to do the same bonus objective, so we teamed up and got it. Then we all got bonus objectives done in the entire game, and then we got Guild Wars 2. Then we got married. Wow! Can't really think of another Guild Wars moment. Yeah, I think you've won. You've definitely won, mate. Well done. Well done. That's fantastic. Everything about Guild Wars is my favourite. It's my life outside real life. I've been there. Oh, I've been there. What I love about Guild Wars 1 is that I felt at home the first second I started. Oh, okay, cool. The long-term reward structure with the meta titles, Wall of Monuments kept me playing for 10 years. Unlike Guild Wars 2 and Guild Wars 1, I had the feeling of being on a journey. That's interesting. Probably because you have one starting city and one ending mission in the prophecies of a pirate occurring. Dangerous journey to discover the next mission. Okay, this is interesting. The only MMO I played that's actually worth it. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. My MMO is still one of the best games ever made. Well, you know what? Like, I've said before that we're going to look at Guild Wars 1, and we are going to look at Guild Wars 1, because he said about if you don't mind playing older games. I do not mind playing older games at all, and when years ago, not years ago, but probably a year or two ago, when I was just starting formulating the ideas for making this channel, one of the games I wanted to play was Lord of the Rings Online, and I did actually play that for a little bit, but didn't get very far, so that's potentially a game to look at too. Yeah, I mean, it just seems like a really interesting game. It seems so unique, compared to anything I've really heard of in terms of like an online RPG. I mean, I guess the RPG systems and the skill systems and the story are what appeal to me most, although of course I would, the buildcraft, of course I would try everything. But I think, as I said, he's doing an Iron Man as well. I wonder how that would work. Interesting. I've always wanted to do an Iron Man series, but I'm just not sure how to do it, you know. Any ideas? Please put them in the comments, because I'll do them 100%. But yes, what am I saying? So it's just so strange, isn't it? When there's a game like this that's been out there this whole time that I've just not known exists, really. So, in the future, I guess we'll have a further look into Guild Wars, and I do also, as I said, would like to have a further look into other games like Lord of the Rings Online, like the Old Republic. But of course, we shall see. Well, obviously, at the moment, we're looking at Guild Wars 2, and obviously, we'll stick on the path there, and we'll probably further look at Final Fantasy XIV as well. I do want to return to that game soon, of my hiatus of it at the moment. But anyway, I guess I'll leave the video there. Of course, please do subscribe and like Master of None's video. Subscribe to his channel, like this video. It's a great video. Show him a lot of love. He deserves it. And I'm going to have a look at some other stuff as well in my own time, because I'd be interested to see how his Iron Man journey works. Also, subscribe to me as well, of course. Please do that. And like the video as if you liked it too. As I said, we look at MMOs, we look at RPGs, we're looking at Guild Wars 2 at the moment. We're gonna look at tons of games in the future. So please do subscribe and make sure that you're there and ready for that content. Also, I do stream on Twitch as well. We started streaming Guild Wars 2 just the other day, so please do go follow me on Twitch. And yes, I guess that's everything to say. So thank you all so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.